Friends, good evening. I would like to respond into the request to make a presentation on the difference between the proactive and reactive safety manager. He want me to make a presentation on enhancing the attitude or developing an attitude towards proactive safety manager. Um, I have few slides here. This is just only a presentation or an additional knowledge that I think if it will be incorporated into our routine as safety manager would help us uh, succeed and at the same time becomes a proactive safety manager. First, I think we are going to um, give a clear understanding of what is a proactive approach. A proactive approach is any self-initiated action that prepares to handle the future. Something that you have initiated today, that this will clearly fill the gap of the future construction activities. Proactivity is a considered desirable trait of a safety manager, team, or organization that can be contrasted with reactive approaches that wait. Reactive approach is an attitude that wait for the future to happen before taking any action. It is just like waiting for the accident to happen before you clearly manage the site. It looks like you have to wait, the attitude of wait and see, waiting for the NCR to be issued. A safety manager that is sitting in his office all the time and waiting for the consultant or for the client to stop their work because it is no longer safe. That is the reactive approach. Now, there is now a contrast here between proactive and reactive. A person that works something, that prepares something, conducted training, or process the procurement or LPO so that the material and the services needed to ensure that the activity is properly or ready to be executed. Now, what is proactive safety management? This one is about management, all right? This is not about the person managing the affairs. We are talking here of the management. Proactive safety management focuses on how to adjust performance so that the risky situation do not occur. Here we are talking here of adjust performance. Focus on how to shape, adjust, tighten, securing additional training, looking for a competent supervision for the activity. Adjust performance so that the risky situation do not occur. All right? So in order to achieve this, safety management must look ahead. Take note, look ahead and not only try to avoid things going wrong, but also try to ensure that they go right. This is the a clear picture of what should be a proactive safety management. Doing something, make some adjustment of your team in terms of resources, material, equipment, environment, and people. The personal protective equipment, the training requirements, the competency, and the level of supervision on site. Now, proactive monitoring. This is about one of the elements in health and safety management. Monitoring. In the previous elements of health and safety management. We have policy, organization, planning, implementation, monitor, audit, and review. So monitoring is part of the health and safety management. Though there were changes at this point in time, wherein NIBOS had changed the POPIMAR, the policy, organization, planning, implementation, monitoring, audit, and review as a matter of element. Now they shifted into an academic approach in terms of health and safety management. The PDCE, Plan, Do, Check, Act. Alright. Now, a proactive monitoring is a techniques that include safety inspections and audits, where the objective is to obtain performance feedback, enabling corrective actions to be taken prior to any failure in the system. This is about implementation of some health and safety procedures. And you are going to do the inspection in the actual performance and audit whether the system works well, whether the system had produced failure, and how to correct them. Alright? This is pertaining to the proactive monitoring. Therefore, this presentation is only focused on the manager, not the system. I just make this slide only for us to understand the difference on the level of understanding. This slide is pertaining to the management system, all right? Not the person himself managing these affairs. I have in the succeeding slides, I have some presentations pertaining to cultivating the enhancement of the person himself running this affair. All right? I'm talking of the attitude of safety manager in the foregoing slides. Now, proactive safety measures includes, take note, this presentation is about the measures, proactive safety measures. This is related to the system, not the attitude that the safety manager should develop. But of course, because when the person is appointed as safety manager, he has to understand that his post requires some routine to ensure that the system works well. So the system requires inspections, interviewing in all phase, either in the execution or in the issuance of personal protective equipment, including the workers' welfare. You have to interview people. All right. Audits, there are two types of audit. Audit are not classified into the common wrong perception that audit is classified into two, internal and external. That is wrong. Audits are classified into two systems. Number one is systems audit. The second one is compliance audit. Under systems audit, you will find the internal and external. Under compliance audit, it requires the project management appointed team to check whether the minimum requirements of the contract are complied. It cannot be shared to a third party because the contract is exclusive between the client and the contractor. Therefore, the compliance audit are directly the responsibility of the team in project management. The project management should allocate part of their time to check on the level of compliance with the contractor. The next is monitoring performance. Checking whether our team or the contractor had complied the minimum requirements. We have key performance indicator, for example. We have figures required that the contractor shall give us the feedback on the total number of man hours, the total number of man hours after LTI, if you had an LTI. If you don't have an LTI, then that is cumulative. Then you have the number of first aid cases. And what you need to know as safety manager, whether the first aid case is 24 hours or 3 days in the hospital. Then you have also medical treatment case. And you have also restricted work case. Both These three criteria differs in the total number of days confined in the hospital before they are officially released by the medical doctor. And the other one, the last one is the LTI. When when the injured person spent a considerable number of days in the hospital. The next is monitoring behavior. Whether you are counting, you have something in your system that monitors the total number of misdeeds, unsafe acts. All right. So you have to monitor whether the issuance of PTW are still in order. You need to monitor whether the wind speed is suitable for lifting operation. You have to monitor whether the rain totally affects and requires the stoppage of work on activities performed outside the structure. Whether the environmental condition affects the behavior of workers. Some people are fighting during summer. And I told him, I remember that when I was assigned as safety manager in oil and gas, our client called me because I have to settle disputes between the other party and our team. They were fighting on some differences. But while going there, I passed by through the cooperative and loaded I used at that time the ambulance because that is the fastest vehicle that we can use over the dunes. So we passed by there. I bring along with me the two coolers, big coolers, and I loaded it with soft drinks, water, fruit juice, and I brought some biscuits and bread. So when we proceed there, I had that already in my mind that environment proactive safety measures. This is in the system, my friend. You have inspections, interviewing, audits, monitoring performance, monitoring behavior, checking procedures, safety sampling. This is in the system. If in your system you have proactive measures. Now, the management system requires inspection, interviewing, and all. Now, in inspection, if you are a consultant and you do not know the requirements, such as the requirements for drinking water. All right, the drinking water, there is specific requirements by the Ministry of Labor. 3-candle ceramic water filter. Now, if you do not know the requirements because you don't have the proactive attitude of joining into trainings and presentations with the organization, nobody can tell you that, hey, my friend, this the water cooler requires three ceramic water filter. So even if you are passing every day and every week on the drinking water for workers, you cannot advise the contractor to provide this because you don't have something in your mind. You are not joining the presentation. You do not know the update. You are not aware with the practice with the other organization of how they ensure that the drinking water for workers are complying the requirements. So you do not know. That is why your inspection will be affected if you are not proactive. I will be showing you some tips of how a practitioner, a safety manager for that matter, can develop a proactive attitude. Interviewing, audits. By the way, audit, my friend, there are two types of audit. Not the internal and external. That's wrong. That's wrong. The two types of audit are compliance and systems audit. Systems audit, under systems audit, you have internal and external audit. Because system, ISO 45001, ISO 9001 for quality management system, ISO 14001 for environmental management. Since this is system, in that systems audit, you have internal and external. But for the compliance audit, there is no external, my friend. It only requires client representative to check the contractor, to determine whether the contractor comply the requirements of the contract. That is why we call that compliance audit. Monitoring performance, monitoring behavior, checking procedures like issuance of PTW, lifting permit, and your training requirements and all. All right, and safety sampling. Now, these are the tips that I would like to suggest to all safety practitioners, that if we can develop the self-initiated action that prepares to handle the future. What is that? You need to learn it from some practitioners. Some practitioners who understand the requirements in terms of a works on traffic management guide, the MOPH protocols, the Qatar Civil Defense Guidelines, because we cannot narrow down our orientation in health and safety by looking at the QCS itself. There are other documents that will serve as a reference for implementing health and safety requirements. Membership of a professional organization. I have taken this photograph of that recent Society of Fire Protection Engineer meeting in Hilton Hotel. All right? So, the Society of Fire Protection Engineer, I would like to inform you that we have around 180 members in the organization. They are all professionals. Some of them are designers, some of them are in the organization, some of them are installers, some of them are material manufacturer, some of them are third party, some of them are working from the client. Now, I am serving as the current president of the organization, the Society of Fire Protection Engineer. Now, membership to that organization will give you an advantage of understanding how the fire protection technology is being managed in this part of the world. All right, how the material is being inspected, how material is being selected, how the installer are being monitored and inspected, how they label their installation in terms of fire stop, and including the installation of firefighting and fire alarm system. So that membership of that organization will give you an understanding of how what are the requirements in terms of fire protection. This is the exact figure, 177 professional as of today in this organization. Imagine you have 177 professional members. That organization is huge. And you have also IO Society here in Qatar. You have World Safety Organization. We have IIRSM. All of these organizations are actually working for the advantage of the professionals. Calibrating your understanding. If you have a calibration of your equipment, the organization will saturate your understanding by some other presenter, manufacturer, or designers will be making their presentation, and you have that knowledge gain from that session. Another, the organization is moving forward and joining the sessions with the organization. It will give you an opportunity to meet friends, professionals of another industry or of similar industry, and you can gain their contacts. All right, sharing knowledge and experience in this field. Now, conducting drill, emergency rescue drill at the right interval, practicing your skills and showing it to the workers of how to rescue a person in a confined space. So that is how to exercise your understanding in the field. Conduct confined space emergency rescue at the right interval. Handson training. Handson training Hands-on training is very important that you as safety manager can demonstrate how the personal protective equipment, the self-contained breathing apparatus, the gas mask, the personal protective equipment, how it is being worn and how they perform. This is a very good opportunity for you to be proactive because prior to the commencement, 1 week before or 2 weeks before the commencement of the activity, even if these guys are trained by third party, you can enhance them. You can remind them of how the self-contained breathing apparatus perform for their protection so that they have trust on the issued personal protective equipment. And confined space entry, how the tripod perform, how it will be used, how it will work on their advantage and for their safety. The confined space, the manhole entry requires tripod because if just in case there is an emergency because the presence of toxic gas in the confined space sometimes, especially in the live line, are not constant. They are fluctuating. So just in case it will be filled with a poisonous gas or a toxic gas, then eventually the team can retract the winch so that you can extract the worker or the person down in the hands-on training. This is a very good opportunity for you to exercise your skills, and even if your workers are trained by third party on the confined space entry and emergency rescue, at least during this time you can recap the knowledge that they have gained during 6 months ago or 3 months ago or 1 month ago's training in the training center. So by doing this, you have a very specific demonstration of how to install your tripod because some of the training centers, they may have a confined space orientation, some training slides in PowerPoint, but they do not have the ability to demonstrate or they do not have the opportunity to demonstrate the tripod, how it is used to descend, and how it is used to retract workers working in the manhole or in a confined space. So a hands-on training will develop your skills and at the same time you have all the opportunity to demonstrate towards your workers so that they have faith on the personal protective equipment, including the safety device that you are going to use during the activity. Now, this is a proper description of how to lock, how to connect the hose line from the self-contained breathing apparatus towards your mask so that even if you are not around during emergency cases, assuming you are not around to do the demonstration, to do the follow-up training, this is an opportunity for you to make them aware of how important it is to suitably connect, safely connect the hose line towards the mask. And of course, to get the feel on how, including the weight of the self-contained breathing apparatus and what are the parts, how to connect them so that it can make the workers breathe in the confined space safely from the self-contained breathing apparatus. The last attitude that I would like to suggest that the safety manager should develop is the ability to develop that ability to convince the project manager. Even if you have the attitude, the technique of presenting to the project manager the pros and cons. If we don't have third party, based on my request, then this would be the result. And you and me will go to jail because of our failure to provide. Training, sir, we need to do this because this is required. And if we do not do this, the power to convince, because at the end of the day, the person who has the sole responsibility to issue the LPO, to sign for the approval of LPO, and at the same time to issue the petty cash for a minor device, safety device that can be purchased and it is ready in the market. The only thing is you need to buy them, calibrate it for a few minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours, then use them on site. These things is very much necessary. The power, the ability to convince project manager to be on your side so that he will understand how important is health and safety management. There is one thing, my friend, that I had observed. Apart from all those concepts, there is one thing that I want the safety manager to develop that I would like to share this. Um, the construction industry, we have the so-called construction program. You can never be proactive without understanding them. If you don't have the constant communication with the construction management team, you will never know what are the materials and measuring device you are going to purchase, to prioritize. You may never know what are the training requirements if you do not know the construction activities, the look ahead program. All right? This is very much important. Even in the formulation of risk assessment. The risk assessment can never be proactively be developed if you do not have the list of construction activities. The list of construction activities is an important document for the QEQC or the technical department to develop the method statement, while it is co-equally important to you as safety manager to develop the risk assessment based on that construction activities. I hope I was able to shed further light on the matter, and thank you for watching. And once again, good evening. Friends, good evening. The issue of proactive and reactive health and safety management is always a challenge among safety practitioners, especially managers, safety engineers. Because everybody knows in this industry that if a safety manager is reactive, he would likely end up in trouble with the authority, and at the same time, you will end up receiving NCR and safety violations issued by the supervising consultant. Friends, everybody knows in this industry that the moment you have more number or rising number of NCR, you will be replaced. You will be terminated and replaced by the client. So the very objective nowadays is not only to be appointed as safety manager, but to be a proactive safety manager. All right. Now, I would like to give you the points that perhaps will add your understanding on how to do and how to execute things right proactively. I think there are attitude that you are going to develop, some routines that you are going to develop within your system, like constant communication with the construction team on understanding the look ahead program of the construction team so that you can make the necessary preparation today. It could be training, information, and instruction, and competent supervision. Does it requires additional materials for health and safety? In every activity that is being listed for next week and next week and next week and 2 weeks from now, you need to ensure that how we are going to protect our workers in this activity, in that activity, and in that activity next week. If you do the necessary preparation today, such as training by third party, such as additional self-contained breathing apparatus, or perhaps gas mask, when you talk to the project manager requesting for the procurement of this material in preparation for that activity, then you are doing the right thing as a proactive safety manager. But if you are a lousy safety manager, a safety manager that does not do something today in preparation for the activity next week, and you are waiting for the consultant to uncover the safety lapses, and you just take it lightly to receive safety observation and nonconformity, my friend, you will end up being replaced as safety manager of your project. So being friend and being subscriber in this YouTube channel, I would like to inform you in advance. Develop the skills of being a proactive safety manager rather than a reactive. A proactive safety manager is busy of doing the necessary preparation for the next week's activity. But a reactive safety manager are waiting for what will happen next without making the necessary preparation. He do not want to talk to the project manager and talk to him on the necessary preparation for the next activity. These are the attitude, the two different attitude in health and safety management. Would you like to make the necessary discussion today? Unnecessary preparation? You are willing to engage with a good discussion with the project manager and the construction team so that to end up the best and to secure the lives of our workers on site. If you are that safety manager that are willing to go through whatever discussions that you are going to uh, enter with the construction team for the purpose of protecting your workers on site, you are doing the right thing. But if that your silence will give comfort to all other discipline without disturbing them, without even having an opportunity for discussion in order to protect their lives, you would like to stay in the tranquility under the innocence of implementing the health and safety requirements. My friend, you will surely end up with a letter requiring your employer to replace you. Would you like to stay further in your position right now? Would you like to be tagged as a proactive safety manager? Do the right thing today for the activity next week and the following weeks and the following month to come. That attitude, that behavior will give you a good reputation of a proactive safety manager. A proactive safety manager will prevent the imprisonment of project manager. Something that you can make the preparation today without having unwanted event on site. No fatality, no bone fracture, nobody falling from heights, nobody got asphyxiated in the confined space, nobody got electrocuted because you make the necessary preparation before that high-risk activity is being executed. Now, this point, you have two choices. Would you like to remain unloved by your institute, by your organization for being a proactive safety manager? Or would you like to be an undesirable mammal in the organization, being a reactive safety manager?